Santiago Ponzinibbio makes his UFC return against Li Jingliang this weekend at UFC Fight Night Fight Island 7, Holloway versus Kattar, and I can't wait for Santiago Ponzinibbio's return. And yes, I just jinxed it, and I refuse to touch wood. I don't care. Santiago Ponzinibbio, in my opinion, will be in that cage this weekend. And if you don't know why I'm saying this so much, it's because we've been robbed of his career, basically, so far. And I feel like he's missed some of his better days. I think he's slightly missed out on his prime. He could come back with a vengeance. I know he's been training for fights. He hasn't been injured on the sideline the whole time. He's just been taken off of fights due to getting injured in the middle of training camps and things like this. So he's still been developing on the side and still been improving as a fighter. We just haven't been able to see him yet, or for a long time in the octagon since his win over Neil Magny. And that win over Neil Magny now looks really good because Neil Magny, since that KO loss, has gone on a 3-fight win streak in the welterweight division, including a win over Li Jingliang immediately after getting destroyed by Santiago Ponzinibbio. I'm looking forward to Ponzinibbio's return. You've got Li Jingliang, of course, coming off of a loss to Neil Magny. Hasn't been in the cage since, and I'll be honest with you guys, it was a little bit of an embarrassing loss. I actually think Li Jingliang is a very, very underrated fighter in the welterweight division. I think he's one of the best guys outside the rankings in the welterweight division. He has wins over David Zawada by TKO to a side kick to the body, which is a nice finish. He also has a win by finish over Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, and in my opinion, Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos beat Muslim Salikov in his last fight, so I respect that win as well, and he finished him in the third round, went to the body in the second, eventually broke down Zaleski, finished him off in the third. He's very good at really capitalizing on a change of momentum. Is Li Jingliang really starts putting on the pressure when he knows he's got you hurt. But in the last fight against Neil Magny, I just saw something that I couldn't unsee. I saw Li Jingliang sort of realize in the middle of the fight that he couldn't do anything to Neil Magny whatsoever, and Neil Magny just started tuning him up from the outside. I'll read you some stats right now. 12-8 in the first round. Li Jingliang loses the round. Round 2, 26-1 in favor of Neil Magny in that round. I mean, Li Jingliang, the entire round was basically just spent him backing up against the fence, trying to get away from Neil Magny because he couldn't find his way on the inside, I feel like, in that fight. He had some success here and there. I know he likes to chop at the legs here and there as well. In the third round, 36-7 on significant strikes to Neil Magny. He was really tuning up Li Jingliang. And I think if you can't find your way on the inside of Neil Magny, I don't see you being able to do it to Santiago Ponzinibbio. And I know that sounds weird to some people because Neil Magny is the long-rangier guy. He's got the 80-inch reach of the welterweight division. He's a crazily built guy for that division. It's very, very long. And I know it sounds weird for me to say if you can't find your way on the inside of Magny, then you can't do it against Santiago Ponzinibbio. But when I tell you this, that the 73-inch reach Santiago Ponzinibbio was out-jabbing Neil Magny in their bout and out-ranging Neil Magny in their bout, and Magny was the guy backing up against the cage, and every time he backed up, Santiago would chop at the leg. He's ridiculously good. 28-3. I know some of those early fights in his career weren't against good competition, but, you know, 28-3 speaks for itself. He's had some losses in his career, of course, but they haven't really been to too many bad people in his career. I know, like, Santiago Ponzinibbio hasn't been around for a while, but what we forget is he went through Neil Magny, Mike Perry, Gunnar Nelson, with the eye pokes, though, it does need to be mentioned, Nordine Taleb, Zach Cummings, Court McGee. Zach Cummings is now going on a run in the middleweight division up above. Beat Court McGee, beat Andreas Satala. I don't know who the fuck that is, to be honest with you. I don't even remember him, but he lost to Lorenz Larkin. No shame there. Ryan LaFleur, back in 2013, was a dangerous man. I remember he went to a decision with Damian Maia around that time. He was a very feared fighter in that division. However, I feel as though Santiago Ponzinibbio is going to destroy Li Jingliang really, really badly in this fight. I like his range. I like his jab. I think he's going to smack the face off of Li Jingliang around the cage. Li Jingliang has a good chin, a really, really underratedly good chin. So I don't think he's going to get finished by Santiago Ponzinibbio, even though Ponzinibbio has power. Other than if he eye pokes you immediately into the fight, he seems to be a guy who's going to need to wear you down before eventually landing that KO blow. So I think that he's not going to get the KO here against Li Jingliang. I think it will go to a decision and Jingliang will have some moments. But overall, I think it will be overwhelmingly in favor of Santiago Ponzinibbio. Li Jingliang's got good body work. He's got good leg kicks, but I think he's going to get out leg kicked by Santiago Ponzinibbio. He's got good hands, but I think he's going to get out-handed by Santiago Ponzinibbio here. I just don't really see a way for Li Jingliang to win this bout, other than the fact that maybe ring rust comes into play and Li Jingliang goes out there and catches Santiago Ponzinibbio a little bit rusty, a little bit green, and hasn't been in there for a while, and maybe Santiago Ponzinibbio's lost a beat and hasn't been training as hard as he usually does, because I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think Santiago Ponzinibbio has it in his mind that he's going to go on and fight for the belt and become champion, because he's 34 years of age. Maybe he is coming back to fight for the belt, because I'll tell you this, if he does win this one, I think he should be ranked above Neil Magny in that division, and I think he should be, because Neil Magny is, ranked number 11 in the welterweight division, maybe number 10, and I think Santiago Ponzinibbio, with a win over him, not that long ago, only 2 years ago, and then re-establishing himself with another win that Neil Magny has in that division, on top of the wins that he already has, I think Santiago Ponzinibbio deserves to be ranked after this for sure. Neil Magny's actually at number 9 now. Wow, he's jumped up quite a bit over these past few wins. I think definitely put Santiago Ponzinibbio above him in the rankings if he beats Li Jingliang, especially if he beats Li Jingliang impressively like Neil Magny did as well. I think he's going to beat Li Jingliang impressively. I think he's going to batter him around in those later rounds. The first round's going to be interesting, seeing Santiago in there for a while. If you're going to put some money on Li Jingliang, I would risk a first round finish, and I'm sure there's going to be some good odds on that as well. I just don't see Li Jingliang finishing Santiago Ponzinibbio, especially because Li Jingliang himself is a guy who likes to break guys down in fights. He likes to wear them down, overwhelm them like he did with Zaleski dos Santos, because Zaleski dos Santos is a guy who takes his time in fights. He has a very slow pace. He's very explosive, but he holds back on his output because of that explosiveness, because he doesn't want to gas himself out. And what Li Jingliang did in their fight was just make him work in round 2 defending takedowns. Even Li Jingliang got some takedowns, landed good shots, and then eventually Alessio just sort of got smacked up in the third, because I think he had worked a little bit too much and Li Jingliang came forward. I don't see Santiago Ponzinibbio gassing out at any point in this fight. He can go at a high pace. I just feel as though Santiago's got this one in the bag, and if he does win, shimmy him right in above Neil Magny, and if Magny beats Chiesa, maybe put Magny above Ponzinibbio. I don't know what they're going to do. This kind of sucks for Magny, for Ponzinibbio to be back in town, and if I was Neil Magny, I would be praying to God that Santiago Ponzinibbio is not the guy to win this bout. If I'm Magny, I'm praying with all my might that Li Jingliang somehow finds a way to get the upset against Santiago Ponzinibbio, but I think Ponzinibbio gets it done. If he does win this, he's 34 years of age, he's going to be 35 in September. I say let's rush him straight into the top, whatever way we can. I don't know how we're going to do that, whether it be the loser of Usman versus Burns. I know Usman was supposed to fight Santiago Ponzinibbio all the way back at UFC Uruguay, but Damian Maia stepped in on like a week or two's notice, because that was another fight that Santiago got pulled out of. That's some storyline there. I don't know what he has with Gilbert Burns, but maybe there could be a fight made there. I think he's going to have to look for a loser of one of these upcoming big bouts. And if he thinks he's a badass and Khamzat Chimaev gets to jump over Leon Edwards, I'd say call out Khamzat Chimaev, because I don't think they're going to give him a title shot for beating Edwards. There's a bit of a logjam at welterweight in terms of guys that have earned their shot, and the winner of Covington versus Masvidal is no doubt going to want a title shot, especially if it's Covington, because he'll be on a 2-fight win streak and he has better wins than Chimaev if he beats Jorge Masvidal, because he also beat Woodley. So I don't think they're going to give Chimaev a title shot. So I think if anyone wants to be the guy to risk calling out Khamzat Chimaev if he beats Leon Edwards, I don't see many other people calling out Chimaev, and I doubt they'll be calling him out too much if he does actually beat Leon Edwards. I know there's some people like Kevin Holland at middleweight, but right now in the welterweight division, I think people should start preemptively calling out Khamzat Chimaev if he does beat Leon Edwards, because I don't think that's going to happen. But if it does happen, he's going to need an opponent, and I think Santiago Ponzinibbio would be a good one. He's earned it. He's kind of had his career robbed from him, so I kind of want him to be fast-tracked to the top, because it sucks to see a guy get to the belt at 34 years of age, and if he doesn't stay active and doesn't get the fights that he wants, he might be getting to the belt at 35 years of age, maybe 36 years of age. I like Santiago Ponzinibbio. I just think he needs to be rushed right now, because it's a little bit too late. He's leaving his prime. Hopefully he comes back in form and shows what he can do against Li Jingliang. I think he definitely gets the job done, chopping at the legs, outstriking him with the hands, eventually sort of getting to him in the third round where he starts to piece up Li Jingliang, because Li Jingliang couldn't find his way on the inside against Neil Magny, and Magny, the giant guy with a 7-inch reach advantage over Santiago Ponzinibbio, couldn't find his way on the inside of Santiago Ponzinibbio in that fight, man. I know Magny had his moments, like in the second round he landed some good shots, but it almost felt like Ponzinibbio knew he was going to eat those shots just to give back his own and land his own leg kicks and break down Magny. As I said, I don't think he has enough time in this bout to finish Li Jingliang. Definitely seeing him getting it done by 30-27, unanimous decision. Maybe Jingliang sneaks to first round, but I doubt that happens. I'm going to go with Ponzinibbio, 30-27, and if he wins this one, call out Chimaev if he beats Edwards, or maybe even call out Wonderboy Thompson, because as much as I want Wonderboy to get a jump up as well, we've got a problem right now at welterweight, and that is that it's an absolute logjam. And Usman hasn't even been that inactive. I think the whole Masvidal getting a title shot thing from beating Nate Diaz kind of messed up the feng shui of the entire division. Hopefully we can get things back on track and maybe Usman stays a little bit more active in the coming year, 2021. Hopefully he does anyway, because we've got a bunch of contenders to go through in this welterweight division. And Santiago Ponzinibbio's got to put in some work against Li Jingliang. I hope people respect his name, because he's a good fighter and he's got a great win streak. And I think I was going to pick him against Usman in their bout at UFC Uruguay anyway, because that was before Usman's fight with Maia, with RDA. We didn't really know too much about him, but we knew a lot about Santiago Ponzinibbio. He beat an in prime Mike Perry that comes with a nose. You know what I mean? He beat a Mike Perry who had a nose. That was a different level of Mike Perry. That was the Mike Perry who, in my opinion, beat Vicente Luque, and Santiago Ponzinibbio just completely outclassed him, but maybe that's another fight that can be made. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Vicente Luque. Equally amazing, I'll be honest with you guys. So I'm looking forward to all of them. Hopefully, Santiago gets a good matchup after this one, but I think he definitely gets it done against Li Jingliang. And if Li Jingliang wins, maybe like an Anthony Rocco Martin, an Nico Price, something like this, just outside the rankings. Maybe he's the next guy to take on Jeff Neal in his comeback fight after losing to Wonderboy Thompson. Welterweight is amazing. I just can't see Santiago Ponzinibbio losing. However, the odds for Santiago Ponzinibbio are very interesting because this is MMA, and he's been out for a very, very, very long time. Well, not that long of a time, to be honest with you, but he's been out for a while now. Since 2018 November, so it is a long time, really. It's 2 years and 3 months. Anything can happen, and the odds are pretty crazily in favor of Santiago Ponzinibbio. I think he's a 3-1 favorite, if I remember correctly here. Just going to check it right now. Yes, indeed, he is a 3-1 favorite. That's up to you, but I know Ponzinibbio wins, but you want to risk some money on Li Jingliang? Go ahead. I think Santiago's got this one in the bag. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Click that button up there, and goodbye. I'll see you later. Yeah.